So, welcome to the online lecture for the subject power electronics, and the topic of today's session is SCR turn-on methods, or it is also termed as a thyristor turn-on methods. Okay, so in the thyristor family, SCR is preferred. Okay, let's get into the topic. So, SCR turn-on methods are the techniques to bring the SCR in forward conduction mode from forward blocking mode. Okay, so because since we know this all these basic terms and all fundamentals and all, I mean the fundamentals and all, that is the terminals, what are the terminals, how it behaves, what is the operation there. So all these things and all we have seen earlier in the previous class. That is anode, what are the terminals, I mean the anode, gate and cathode. So what are the functions of this, what are the VI characteristics, what about the switching characteristics and all we have seen in the earlier class. Okay, so what is this turn on methods means, what is its importance means. See, we have our main objective is to bring this CR to turn on. So earlier it is in forward. There are three different stages. So that is forward blocking mode, forward conduction mode, and reverse blocking mode. So these three things and all we have discussed earlier. Of course, I will revise a few things about this. So look at this figure. So it is the forward biased condition. So that means, of course, even though it is forward biased, but it's not conducting here because anode is fed with positive supply and cathode is fed with negative. So and the gate terminal here we have used this switch here, or to control the gate current here. Okay, so without any gate current. Okay, so when simply anode is fed with positive and cathode is fed with negative, so it is in forward blocking state. Okay, so now our intention is to or our objective is to allow the flow of, allow the current to reach from anode to cathode. So that means when the switch is closed. Okay, so consider it as a switch here, or definitely it is a switch there. So from anode to cathode the current has to flow. So when it flows, when the switch is completely closed, that means when the SCR is completely turned on. Okay, and when the switch is opened, what happens from anode to cathode? So there will not be any current flow. Okay, so, so let's see the different methods available. So as I said, now you have to make the anode current. So that depends upon the load there. uh, so that has to reach from anode to cathode. So when this situation occurs means when the switch is completely closed. So that is the that is the area where we are going to look into now in this session. So that means what are different methods available to make this process. So what is the process there to reach the anode current from anode to cathode. Okay. Let's see one by one. So look at the second point. SCR in forward conduction mode is characterized by low impedance, low voltage drop across anode and cathode, and high anode current. See, so these things also we have discussed earlier. That means if anode, if it is in forward blocking state. Okay. So if it is in forward blocking state, the impedance value will be very high. Okay. So since the impedance value is very high, what happens? Only a small amount of leakage current flows from anode to cathode. So which is not considered as the main current or the load current or the anode current. Okay. So when the switch is completely closed, so let's just skip about the which method is preferred. When the switch is completely closed, what happens? So this uh, impedance offered will be very less, so that the huge amount of current flows. Huge amount of current means the anode current. So this anode current depends on the load. Okay, so this switch which is connected to the load, so which is used for the controlling purpose and all. So this load current, it depends on the load here, this anode current. Okay, next. So the value of anode current is determined by the load. So that's what I said now, right now. So thus it allows the flow of current. So when the switch is closed here, so this allows the anode current to reach from anode to cathode. So that depends upon the load. So therefore, an SCR in forward conduction mode is called its on state and may be treated as a closed switch. Okay, so that is how we are performing. So from forward blocking state to forward conduction state. So in this mode, the current flows, I mean the maximum current or the load current or the anode current flows here. So this happens when the switch is completely closed. So for this action, we there are five different methods. So mainly, so that is forward voltage triggering, gate triggering, dv by dt triggering, or it is uh, I mean temperature or thermal triggering, and light triggering. Okay, so this gate triggering also we have a brief note on this gate triggering also explained in the earlier session. You can refer also. Okay, so let's see one by one method. That is, let's start with the forward voltage triggering. Okay, so uh, forward voltage triggering. Okay, so in a forward biased SCR, so forward biased SCR means anode is positive and cathode is negative, and there is no gate current here. Okay, so at this forward biased condition, so what about the junctions J1, J2, J3? So you know what are the junctions J1, J2, J3? Because of this four layers, between the two layers a junction is appeared. So that is the reason why there exist three junctions J1, J2 and J3. Okay, so in this junctions J1 is forward bias and J3 is forward bias because here P layer is connected to the positive supply and the bottom layer, that is N layer, is connected to negative. So because of these reasons, J1, J3 will be forward bias and junction J2 is reverse bias. So because of this reverse bias junction, that is J2, so it is not allowing the flow of current from anode to cathode. So here it is blocking. So mainly here we have to focus on this J2. Okay, right. So that's what mentioned here. J1 and J3 are forward bias and J2 is reverse bias. So therefore, increasing this bias voltage will narrow down the width of the depletion region of junction J2, and at a particular voltage, this depletion region will vanish. Okay. So at this stage, reverse bias junction J2 is said to have avalanche breakdown, and this voltage is called the forward breakover voltage. That is VB naught. In the previous class, we have seen this VB naught. And the name forward breakover voltage is given as this voltage, the VA characteristics of SCR breaks and shifts to its on position. So regarding this explanation, we'll look into the VA characteristics once again. So this is the VA characteristics of the SCR. So here VB naught is the forward breakover voltage. So VBR is the reverse breakover voltage, and here points M and N, and here it is a K here. So here IG represents the gate current. Okay. So three modes are existing. So that is forward blocking mode, reverse blocking mode, and forward conduction mode. So that is the on state. Okay, so this holding and latching current we will see for in the upcoming slides. Okay, so when it is in reverse blocking mode, so when reverse blocking mode, in the sense anode is negative and cathode is positive. So when we keep on increasing the voltage, what happens at any particular value? So because of the voltage increase in voltage, what happens, it may leads to breakdown. Okay, so that is the reason here a small amount of negative current is appeared. So this region is nothing but the avalanche breakdown. Okay, so during the reverse blocking mode, a small amount of leakage current appears. So that is also a reverse. So that means since anode is negative and cathode is positive there, so reverse current, leakage current appears. Okay, and if we continue further, so at any particular value, what is that value there? I mean, if at particular forward reverse breakover voltage, that is VBR. So the because of the breakdown of the junctions J1 and J3, so a reverse current flows here, but this is not practically encouraged or practically used. Okay, and coming to the forward blocking mode, so forward blocking in the sense anode is positive and cathode is negative, there is no gate current. Okay, and if we still further increase the voltage here at a forward breakover voltage VB naught, so what happens because of the breakdown of junction J2? So why the junction is breakdown means, so J1 and J3 are forward bias, J2 is reverse bias. So because of the increase in the reverse increase in the layer, so what happens? So that is here. Look at the second point. It is mentioned here clearly, and therefore increasing this bias voltage. So that is the forward breaker voltage. So the width of the depletion region of junction J2 will vanish. Okay, at a particular voltage. What is that particular voltage means? VB naught. Okay, so this is one way of turning on the SCR. Okay, so suddenly what happens? The switch will, I mean, because of the breakdown of junction J2, so all the anode current flows from anode to cathode. So J2 also vanishes. So since already J1 and J3 are forward bias, so the current flows from anode to cathode. So this is how the turn on method in forward voltage trigger without any gate current. Okay, so let's look into one by one about what we have discussed now. So as soon as avalanche breakdown at junction J2 occurs, so current starts flowing from anode to cathode of SCR. So and the value of this anode current is also is only limited to the load there. So since the switch what the I mean the switch symbol, I think so, press, this switch is connected to any load there. So what is the purpose of this switch here? So to control the current over there, or it is used for controlling purpose. So that is the reason why we call it as a controllable switch. Okay, so this current, the current flowing through the switch is depending on the load. Next, so this method, finally this process is nothing but the forward triggering method. So this is how we are making the SCR to turn on. And let's see the drawbacks of this method in the sense. So it may damage the SCR because so if we keep on increasing the voltage suddenly because of the breakdown of junction J2, so this current is flowing. So this is not a frequent operation. I mean, continuously it cannot. It is not practically used. Okay, so every time if you go for the breakdown means the switch behavior may deteriorate. Okay, so generally the forward breakover voltage is less than the reverse breakdown voltage, and hence reverse breakdown voltage is considered as the final voltage rating while designing the SCR. So this is not much more important, but okay, anyhow mentioned. So this VB naught will be less than VBR. So VBR will be considered as the final breakdown voltage for designing. Okay. So most probably we might be seeing in our household appliances or on household switches also. So we can see the maximum voltage and the maximum current. So like this, for designing of this switch also, we consider the reverse breakdown voltage as the final voltage rating. Okay. So that is considered as the maximum voltage. So and also okay, one more thing. So when we go for this forward voltage triggering method, so what happens? Junction J2 goes to avalanche breakdown and the current is flowing from anode to cathode. After this flow of current, what about the junction J2 means? It lost its blocking capability because once the gate is opened, so you just think about any practical example. A huge crowd is there at the gate point. Once if we really open the gate, so immediately we cannot close the gate there. So once we have opened the gate, so a huge amount of current flow will be there, and there is no control over the junction J2. So that is how the behavior or that is how happening in the SCR. Okay. So therefore, if the anode voltage is reduced below the forward breakover voltage, the SCR will continue to conduct. So even though if we reduce the anode voltage, so look at this. So after the forward voltage triggering, even though if we reduce the anode voltage, so the switch is operated with the switch is in forward conduction state itself. Okay, so you might be thinking that if we reduce the voltage, the switch will go to off. So that is not the case here. The switch is triggered here. Okay. So the SCR now can be turned off by bringing its anode current below a certain value called holding current. So this is the holding current here. So if the current is below the holding current, the switch will go to turn off. Okay. And what about the latching current means? So the minimum current required uh, for the SCR in forward conduction state. Okay, so in forward conduction state, the minimum current required for the SCR to turn on is the latching current. And what about the holding current means? It is the minimum current, and if the current goes below this holding current, the switch will goes to turn off. Okay, so that's the difference between holding current and latching current. So next we'll go to the gate triggering method. So in the gate triggering method, so it is the most suitable method or a mostly preferred method. uh, what happens in the gate triggering in the sense, so the name itself indicates the triggering. We are performing some action at the gate terminal. Okay, so hope you can remember this diagram. So in this gate terminal, so we are allowing the gate current which is connected to the P layer. Okay, at junction J2. Okay, so for this P layer, gate terminal is connected. Okay, and now we are going to perform some action. What is the action? We are going to inject the gate current. Okay, so in which the positive gate current is flown in the forward bias SCR to make it turn on. So let's see how it is going to turn on and what's its behavior and all. We'll see. It is the most reliable, simple and efficient method of the SCR. And in this method, the positive voltage, that is a gate voltage, is applied between the gate and cathode. So between the gate and the cathode, we are going to apply a voltage. So earlier we have seen the basic circuit also, you can refer that. So we are using an external supply for the gate and cathode, so that a gate current is applied between the gate current, I mean the gate terminal. Okay. So when the positive gate current is applied, the gate P layer is flooded with electrons from the cathode, that is N side. Okay. So since junction J2 is already reverse bias, what happens? We are going to inject this current here. So this is because the cathode N layer is heavily doped as compared to the gate P layer. See, look at this. Since J3 is already forward bias, okay, and it has an see, N is connected to a negative terminal. Okay, and now here we are injecting the positive gate current. Okay, since J2 is reverse bias, so we are making the J2 to come to the forward bias condition, or we are reducing the width of the layer. Okay, so that the current will be allowed from J1 to J3. Okay, so since junction J1 and J3 are forward bias, the injected electrons in the gate P layer may reach the junction J2 and hence reduces the width of the depletion layer or region. Okay, right. So this results in the reduction of the forward breakover voltage. Okay. So in fact, the more the injected electrons in the gate P layer, the more will be chance of electrons reaching J2. Okay. So this means that the more value of gate current, the more will be reduction in forward breakover voltage, and the gate current and the breakover voltage are inversely proportional. So now whatever the points I have read out, I will explain you now by using this VI characteristics again. So look at here. When I start with the minimum gate current, okay, so initially uh, the anode cathode voltage is higher. Okay, so consider as it has reached the forward breakover voltage, or maximum forward breakover voltage. Okay, so when I started injecting the gate current, okay, so what happens? Slowly the usage of, the forward breakover voltage can be reduced. So reduce it to V1 to V2 and finally to V3. So if I keep on increasing the gate current, okay, so you can refer in the switching characteristics of SCR. So slowly the gate current is raised there at after the delay time. Okay, so it reaches to its steady state. Okay, the gate current will be maximum. so that the forward breakover voltage reaches to a minimum value. Okay, that is V3. Okay, so the anode voltage reaches to minimum value because once the switch is completely closed, the voltage across the switch will be minimum. So that is considered as forward breakover voltage. How you can remember that? See, this is the forward breakover voltage. Sorry, not this. This is actually current. In the switching characteristics, you can refer a minimum voltage will be appeared across the switch when it is completely closed. Okay, so right. Okay, so what I would like to conclude here in the sense in this gate triggering means if I keep on increasing the gate current, the forward breakout voltage will be reduced to a minimum value, and finally when it reaches to the maximum gate current, so this junction J2 will disappears. I mean this layer width can be reduced, and J1, J2, J3 will be, comes to the forward bias condition, so that the anode current flows from anode to cathode. So finally the switch is turned on here. Okay, so this represents the different values of gate current: Ig1, Ig2, Ig3, Ig1 less than Ig2 less than Ig3. Okay, so this is how I'm going to control the gate current by using an external supply and control the current flowing through this SCR. So this is the most preferable method and reliable method. Okay, so this is how I'm going to control the switch and of course control the current means obviously controlling the load current. Okay, so again here this represents the holding current and latching current. So this currents also can be controlled by using this uh, gate current here. So completely the control is achieved with the help of the gate current. So I hope now you can know the difference between the forward voltage triggering and the gate triggering. So this is most efficient method. Here we are not at all making the switch to reach any breakover or any avalanche breakdowns or anything here. Just by reducing the depletion layer at the junction J2, we are making the ACR to turn on. Okay, right. And what are the observations made in this gate triggering? I will once again highlight it. When the gate current Ig is 0, the forward breakover voltage is maximum, that is VB naught. When we keep on increasing the gate current from 0 to Ig1, so which is the maximum value, I mean Ig1 or Ig2 or Ig3, so the forward breakover voltage reduces from VB naught to VB1. So if it is Ig1, the voltage across the switch will be V1. Okay, if I go to Ig2, the voltage will be V2. So that means the voltage gets reduced with increasing gate current. So that is the relation there. So thus the SCR may be turned on by applying the gate current. It should be noted that SCR is turning on due to the forward breakover voltage, so this voltage is reduced considerably due to the positive gate current. So here, since with the zero gate current, there is maximum voltage, that is forward breakover voltage. If I increase the gate current, this voltage is reduced to a minimum value. We are not exceeding the forward breakover voltage. Okay, so where we have observed in the forward voltage triggering. Okay, we are exceeding the VB naught, so then it reaches to the breakdown. Okay, so and one more thing. So beyond that, what are the observations means? Once the ACR turned on, the reverse bias junction J2 no longer exists. So this junction J2 is layer is disappeared by reducing this width of the layer with the help of the gate current. So further, once the switch is turned on means there will not be any J2. Okay. So and further, once the switch is turned on, no need of a gate current also, because then the junction J2 is disappeared. Okay, so because that is the only layer which is blocking the switch. Okay, once this gate is removed means what happens, all the current is flowing from anode to cathode. So there is no control over the uh, I mean in the switch once the switch is completely closed. So therefore the gate current is removed, the conduction of the current from anode to cathode is not affected. Even though if we remove the gate current, so there will not be any effect on this the flow of current from anode to cathode, and that is also one of the major drawback of the SCR. Okay, so that is the reason why we go for the GTOs, that is the gate turn off thyristors. So separately we need an external circuit to turn off the switch, or else again we have to bring back the SCR current to below the holding current. Okay, so every time that is not possible, and this is one of the drawback of the SCR. Okay, so and we'll highlight this holding and latching current once again, and you can refer these points. So all these things we have discussed now. So latching current is defined as the minimum value of anode current which must be attained during the turn on process of SCR to maintain the conduction even when the gate current is removed. See, once the switch is completely closed, there should be a minimum current. That current is termed as the latching current. So, and this latching current should persist, or it should be existing even though if you remove the gate current. So when we are going to remove the gate current, when the switch is completely closed. Okay. And what about the holding current? So it is the minimum value of anode current below which it must fall for turning off the SCR or the thyristor. Okay, so below this holding current, the SCR goes to turn off. Okay, not only the SCR in the thyristor family, either it may be a SCR or track or a GTOs, everything. So this is the minimum current required, and if the current goes below the holding current, the SCR goes to turn off. Okay, so that's how about gate triggering method. So next we'll enter into the dV by dt triggering. Okay, so dV by dt triggering means, so dV by dt means the rate of change of voltage with respect to time. Okay, so dV by dt triggering is the technique in which SCR is turned on by changing the forward bias voltage with respect to time. Okay, so again it has to be in forward blocking state. That means anode is positive and cathode is negative. There is no control over the gate. Forget about the gate current. Now we are changing the voltage with respect to time. So that is nothing but the forward biased voltage. Okay. So here at this moment, J2 is reverse bias in a forward blocking mode. That is a well-known thing. And a reverse bias junction may be treated as a capacitor. Okay, because it is a P layer and it is an one is the N layer. So you can see the figure here. Yes. So these two layers. Okay. So since it is reverse bias, you can treat it as a capacitor through a medium. Okay. And due to the presence of space charges in the vicinity of the reverse bias junction. Okay. Let us assume its capacitance to be C. Okay. So and the charge on the capacitor treated as Q, and let's see the relation Q equal to CV, and differentiating on both sides with respect to time, we get dq by dt equal to C into dV by dt. That means rate of change of charge with respect to time gives to equals to the capacitance, which is constant there, into rate of change of voltage with respect to time. So since I equal to dq by dt, the current flowing is equals to the rate of change of charge with respect to time. So which is equal to C into dV by dt. Okay. Thus the current through the reverse bias junction J2 is directly proportional to dV by dt. Okay. So that means why we are focusing on the current means we have our main objective is to uh, allow the anode current to reach the cathode terminal. Okay, so now the current is depending on the rate of change of voltage with respect to time. So that is the relation I want to highlight here. Okay, so this current is depending on the rate of change of voltage with respect to time. So now I have to make this anode current to reach the cathode terminal. Okay, so what is the blocking parameter here? Junction J2. So now I think you can get the relation. If I go for a change of voltage, obviously the layer get affected and the current will be allowed through this junction. Okay, so therefore if the rate of rise of forward voltage, that is dV by dt, is high, the charging current I also will be high. Okay, so this charging current acts like a gate current. Okay, so that means what we have to do means we have to make this rate of rate of change of voltage with respect to time, so that the current also will be maximum. So uh, this leakage current, the forward leakage current, it will be exceeded, and finally it reaches to the maximum anode current. So that is how happening. It is independent of the magnitude of voltage. So this voltage is independent to the main voltage there. So we are making the switch turn on and turn off. When the switch is open, so what happens? The current is zero and the voltage is maximum. When the switch is completely closed or it is going to be closed, when it's partially closed, the voltage goes down and the current starts rising. Okay, so this is how this is the process of the turn on in the uh, dv by dt triggering method. Okay, next we will see the temperature triggering. So temperature triggering is also called as the thermal triggering. Okay, so in the reverse bias junction J2, a reverse saturation current flows whose value depends on the junction of temperature of the junction. Okay, so this is also a fundamental thing. If we increase the temperature across the junction J2, so what happens if we increase the temperature of the junction J2, so it this junction J2 will uh, allow the reverse leakage current. Okay, so this leakage current will be higher, so that uh, with increase in the reverse leakage current, what happens? The junction the depletion layer gets vanished there, so that the switch may completely close. So that means J1 and J3 are already forward bias. Because of this removal of J2. What happens? So there will be a smooth operation. That means the current flows from anode to cathode. So this is all the simple overall view of this temperature triggering. I will read out one by one. So this current will increase the temperature of the junction, which in turn will result in further increase in reverse leakage current. Okay, so this increased leakage current will again increase the junction temperature, and hence will further increase the reverse leakage current. Okay, so this is the process of the cumulative and even eventually lead to vanishing of depletion region of reverse bias junction J2 at some temperature. So finally, with increasing the temperature, so what happens? This reverse leakage current increases. Because of this reverse leakage current, junction J2 will disappear, and the SCR will turn on. So this method is also not mostly preferred, because with the depending on the temperature, the complete behavior of the switch may uh, get deteriorated. I mean, reliable operation cannot be performed with this temperature triggering. Okay, so and the last method is the light triggering. So in the light triggering, same what we have seen in case of the temperature also, it is somewhat similar to that. So in the light triggering, a pulse of light of a suitable wavelength guided by the optical fibers are irradiated to SCR. See, again in the P layer, that is a third P layer. I'll show you once. See, at this where the gate terminal is available here, at this same layer, that is a P layer, a light is triggered here. Okay, so how the light is triggered? With the help of the optical fiber. Okay, so I light triggered in the inner P layer for the SCR. When it is irradiated, free charge carriers, that is electrons and hole pairs, are generated. So we are making to inject the electrons and holes, that is a P type layer, positively charged particles and the negatively charged particles are inserted there. If the intensity of the irradiated light is exceeded at a certain value, the forward bias SCR is turned on. Okay, so note that their irradiated light produces free charge carriers, which is just like in case of the gate current. Okay, so because of the injection of these holes and electrons in the P and N layer at the junction J2, so what happens? This, I mean, again with the adjusting of these P and N type layers, what happens? Junction J2 reduces, and the switch will conduct. So this method is also not mostly preferred, and this type of SCRs are called as the LASCRs, that is a light activated silicon control rectifiers. And so out of these five methods, that is forward voltage triggering, dV by dt, gate triggering, temperature triggering, and light triggering. So gate triggering is the most suitable method, and that's all about the SCR turn on methods. And I hope you have understood this session. So thank you.